What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I'm going to show you another special election where we see a Democrat outperforming Republicans. And the reason why this is important is because this is right before a midterm election. We're seeing Democrats time after time outperforming Republicans. And so I'm going to show you this clip. We're going to talk a little bit about this, and I'll show you why Democrats have the wind at their back right now when it comes to the midterm election. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. So let's go and take a look at this race in New Jersey. Here we go.
He is way out ahead, but that is not surprising me because it's part of a larger picture. Look, we are now talking about 7 special elections, and in every single one of them that we've had during the second Trump era, the Democratic candidates for the House have outrun the Kamala Harris baseline. You know, Florida won last year. I remember you and I were together. 23 points, 16 points in Florida, 6. Virginia 11, 17 points. Arizona 7, 17 points. Tennessee 7, 13 points. Georgia 14, 25 points. And while there are still votes to be counted here in New Jersey's 11th district, I will say at this point we're probably looking at an overperformance of at least 10 points when all the votes are said and done. So 7 special elections, and in every single one of them, the Democratic district for the House of Representatives has outperformed Kamala Harris's baseline by at least 10 points.
Okay. So also this is a state where, we know suburban voters make up a pretty big share of the electorate. The president got to the White House by having more ground in the suburbs. You talked about Harris's numbers. What do the numbers show on that now in this moment?
Yeah, absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. New Jersey 11th to me is very much part of a trend. What are we talking about in the polling data? Well, we can see it right here. Just take a look here. You talk about suburban voters on Trump. You look at Fox News polling back in October of 2024 versus Kamala Harris. Look at that. Donald Trump was leading by 2 points. You come to this side of the screen. Look at how far down he's gone. His net approval rating now 20 points underwater among registered voters who are in the suburbs, suburban registered voters. So we are talking about an over 20-point shift. So what we see in New Jersey 11, to me, is going to be seen throughout the nation come this fall if these numbers hold.
And so that's what happened in this special election. Now, it's give or take about 10 points. That's the outperformance. Now, because we're seeing Democrats outperform, and all they need to do when it comes to the House, and let me show you this really quickly. When it comes to the House, and give or take, okay, now we have these special elections. The reason why we have these special elections is because we've had some members of the House resign. We know that it's probably going to be around Democrats 215 and Republicans 220 when everything is said and done, when we see all of these special elections. Unless we see an upset, it's going to be around this number. Now, what's important to note is Democrats right now, they need to net 3 seats in order to take back control of the House. Republicans have the House right now. They have around 220, and so they control the House. But if we see in this midterm election, if we see Democrats net 3 seats, then they will take back control of the House. And so that is why we're looking at these races very closely. But not only are we looking at the races very closely, we're looking at these special elections because these special elections are showing us that Democrats are outperforming Republicans, which means we may see the same scenario in the midterm elections. And if we see that same scenario, some of these seats that are close, let's say a Republican won a seat by 7 points, or they won a seat by 5 points back in 2024. Well, guess what? If we're seeing Democrats right now outperforming by 10 points or outperforming by 13 or 15 or 20 points, those same seats that Republicans won, now those seats could be pretty much a toss-up. And if you look at the Cook Political Report, you'll see that more Republican seats are at risk right now. More Republican seats are considered toss-ups than Democratic seats. And the reason for that is because we're seeing this shift. We're seeing Democrats have the wind at their back when it comes to the midterm election. Now, the House is probably likely that Democrats will take back control of the House because, as I stated, they only need to net 3 seats. When it comes to the Senate, it's going to be a little bit harder. But because Democrats now have the wind at their backs, we're looking at the Senate a little differently. So let me show you the Senate. When it comes to the Senate, right now, you have Democrats and independents at 47, Republicans at 53. Republicans have the advantage right now because when we're looking at the Senate map, Democrats need to net 4 seats in order to take back control. And that's a big task. That's not an easy thing to do. And when we start looking at the map, we start to see that there are a few states that Democrats have an opportunity to win. And so when we're looking at a state like North Carolina, I think Roy Cooper is probably going to win in North Carolina. We look at Maine. I think Plattner is probably going to beat Mills in the primary and then go on and challenge Collins. And I think Plattner has a really good shot of winning in Maine. So now you have two states that Democrats can most likely flip. Okay, now remember, Democrats need to hold seats as well. They need to hold Georgia. They need to hold Michigan. They need to hold New Hampshire. If they can't hold those states, it's going to be even harder for them. It'll probably be impossible for them. If, let's say, Democrats are not able to hold New Hampshire, they're not able to hold Georgia. Well, now that just means that they need to win one more seat or flip one more seat in order to take back control of the Senate. And so the three states that Democrats need to hold, Georgia, Michigan, and New Hampshire, they also need to win in states like North Carolina, Maine, Alaska. I think Democrats have a shot at winning in Alaska. And so if they can net those three seats, now we're looking at Democrats and independents at 50, Republicans at 50. However, in this situation, Republicans still maintain control of the Senate because the vice president comes in and breaks the tie. But now Democrats are looking at one more state. And I think they have a good opportunity in Ohio. They have a good opportunity in Texas. They even potentially have a good opportunity to win in Iowa. And then when we look at independents in Nebraska, independent in Montana, and even if we move down to South Carolina, which I think is going to be a closer race than what's being anticipated right now, Democrats have an opportunity. They have that pathway to take back control of the Senate. And so right now, if we had an election held today, the House, Democrats would most likely take back the House. When it comes to the Senate, it's going to be much harder, but they have the wind at their backs. They do have a pathway. And so we could see Democrats take back control of the Senate as well. And the reason why we're seeing all of these changes is because not only are we looking at polling, but we're looking at these special elections, and we're seeing that Democrats are outperforming what Kamala Harris did in 2024. That is why you're seeing senators like Lindsey Graham and Tuberville saying, look, we're very concerned about the future. We even saw Tim Scott say, we're very concerned about the Senate. And they're saying that they're seeing that Democrats now have the momentum, and they're trying to break that momentum. But how do you break that momentum? You need to improve the economy. How do you break that momentum? You need to deal with the situation that's going on in Iran. Now, I did hear that the Strait of Hormuz is now going to be open. We'll have to see how that plays out in the future, because now that Iran knows that if they close the Strait of Hormuz, that it could send ripple effects across the world, that could be a weapon that we could see Iran use in the future. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But the bottom line here is Democrats now have an advantage in the House, and it looks more and more likely that Democrats will be able to have a good performance in the Senate and could potentially take back the Senate. And so now I want to pass it off to you. What do you think is going to happen in the midterm election in November? Do you think Democrats will take back the House and the Senate? Do you think they'll just take back the House? Do you think they'll take back the Senate but not the House? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.